There's a reason why your reactive or hypersensitive or distracted, fearful, worried, or anxious dog doesn't trust you. We're going to talk about that today, and let's get that cleared up. It's going to be good. Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened by Dogs podcast. Well, hello, my friends. Kathy Kowalik here, your host of the Enlightened by Dog show. And I'm really excited to talk to you about this topic of why your reactive or distracted or fearful, anxious dog doesn't really trust you. It's something I hear over and over and over again. Like, why doesn't my dog trust me? My dog just doesn't allow me to help support him. She is so worried she checks out. She can't let me show her that everything is okay. You know what I mean? It's something that I hear, and I get where that's coming from because we love our dogs. I mean, we're like, our life revolves around our dogs, right? And we want to do everything to help them to thrive and to feel good and to be happy. And we want to be happy with them, right? And yet oftentimes we are facing these behavior challenges where our dog is not calm, our dog is reactive, our dog is hyperactive, or our dog is anxious and worried, and we can't seem to figure out how to help our dog. And the reality of it is that common thinking, a common approach to our dogs that are facing these types of challenges doesn't work. It's just the wrong tactic. It actually damages our relationship with our dogs even further when we go down these paths that are, you've already done it, right? Chances are really high that you've already gone down those paths and you've already seen that they don't really help, right? So we're going to talk about that today. I'm really excited about it. And I want to help you turn things around and use some of these insights to change your partnership lifestyle with your dog. Now, last week I shared with you Maya's story of rehab and how the very first thing that I did was focus on building trust and confidence and keeping her safe, calm, and happy, right? And then I shared her story. And so today, here is a deeper dive into some of the details of that these are actionable steps. And I'm going to lead you through like a decision tree that will help you discern what your next steps are with your dog. All right. So let's get this baby rolling. So today we're going to talk about partnership and building trust and what loving leadership means, how to stop the trust and confidence leaks in your relationship with your dog. So it's going to be good. Let's get rolling here. So in episode 91 and way back in episodes 1 and 2, I talked to you about my story with Phoenix and the pact that I made with her and the struggles that we had that led me to really bring together my work in a way that was deliverable and and my students and clients could understand, they could replicate, and they could use in their daily life. And so one of the things that really came out of that work, like pulling all these things together that I was naturally doing, but it was like subconscious competence. Well, one of the things that came out of that was how important it is to be a loving leader for our dogs and to provide some structure and some guidance and boundaries, and how that really helps our dogs thrive. And as I went down that sort of rabbit hole of what does leadership mean, because that word has a pretty negative connotation amongst us positive dog trainers, because it's been misused in a pretty significant way. But we've kind of thrown out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak, when we talk about leadership. And so I think it's really important for us to learn how to be good leaders. So we're going to talk about that today. But Phoenix, that's one of the things that she really helped me to hone in on and to understand. And to understand what that really means, in a way that feels good to me, good to my dogs, good to those who I teach, right? It has to resonate. It has to make sense logically, but it also has to feel good in our hearts, or we won't be able to follow through. We won't be able to live in that way. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So one of the basic concepts that I live by and teach is that it's really up to us to take responsibility for being the kind of human that our dogs love to follow and love to listen to and love to partner with. And that this foundation, this sort of a foundational relationship, or I call it a partnership because I think of it as being collaborative, that this needs to happen. It needs to be well established before we start our more specialty training, like, agility or herding, obedience, rally, that kind of stuff. Because without this foundation in place, we end up really developing struggles and issues and miscommunications with our dogs that can get really frustrating and leave us without like a place to turn to. And so I really think establishing this partnership lifestyle is where we should begin. Everyone should begin here. And so what is the right kind of leadership? So I talk about it as being loving leadership, but the reality of it is it's more like consensual leadership. But the way I think about it is developing mutual respect, attentive responsiveness, awareness, self-discipline, and self-responsibility on both sides of that partnership, or on that collaboration. And so when I think about leadership, from my perspective, it's all about being able to inspire, to discover solutions, to be solution focused, not problem focused, to have that ability to calm and focus those that are following us, those that we are leading, to be able to set effective boundaries that works really well for everyone and helps everyone to feel safe and comfortable and secure and able to blossom into, the full potential of who they are as individuals in our family group. And so a leader is visionary and leads by example. And that's a really big part of my work, this idea of role modeling. And I don't think we can overstate how important that piece is. It's really natural for dogs to, as socially intelligent animals, to learn through our role modeling, and just as it is for human children, right? So any socially intelligent species learns from the others around them. And when we fall into this idea of our dogs need to be trained versus our dogs need to understand how to coexist, how to communicate, how to be responsible for fitting into the family group, I think we are doing ourselves and our dogs a huge disservice. I hope that makes sense, you guys. And so one of the things that I feel is so crucially important for this partnership lifestyle, this foundation that I recommend that we all build is protecting and developing trust and confidence between us and our dogs. It starts with what I call the clarity questions and leads us down this path of stopping leaks of trust and confidence in ways that we don't even consciously recognize that on a daily basis we are opening up this like floodgate, this big faucet that is just rushing out and leaking trust and confidence. Our personal trust and confidence leaks out, trust and confidence in ourselves. Our trust and confidence in our dog leaks out. Our dog's personal trust and confidence in themselves and their ability to make good decisions leaks out. And really importantly, our dog's trust and confidence in us as their human it's wow. I mean, it just is getting sucked out. I see it everywhere I look, and to be honest, it kind of makes me crazy. And so we want to stop the leaks. We want to stop the trust and confidence leaks. And so here's how I think about this. If you and I were really good friends and we loved hanging out together, we loved doing fun stuff together, and we resonated, we're just good friends. And one of the things that we like to do is go for hikes on a wooded trail. Like we like to walk and we like to be in nature and we like doing that together, right? And so we regularly meet to go for hikes in the woods. And then something happens. One day we're walking along and this big crazy spider drops down out of the tree and lands on your head. And yikes, right? I mean, anyone would be like disturbed by that, but for you, it's really creepy because you really don't like spiders. You're kind of like weirded out by spiders. And now that you've had this experience of this spider dropping out of nowhere and landing on your head, and like you can't get it off and you don't know where it is. And so you kind of freak out. And, and it causes you to be really uncomfortable. And we continue on our walk. And I'm like, gosh, that was really weird, but hopefully we won't encounter any more spiders. And so we continue on our walk, but oddly enough, there's like a lot of spiders, it's like spider season or something. And we're walking and we keep encountering spiders, and they're like, there's like webs across the trail, and we're walking into their sticky webs with our faces, and it's kind of really gross. And so we decide to go back the other way and cut our walk short, and like, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. And then the next time we meet for a walk, you're like a little bit A little uncomfortable about going for the hike because you're wondering, like, are we going to encounter some spiders? And so you say, hey, Kathy, I'm a little bit weirded out about the spiders. Maybe we shouldn't go on the trail walk today. Maybe we should do something else instead. And I'm like, oh gosh, I've been looking forward to this, like all week. And, we love walking on the trails. Come on, let's give it a go. Like if we don't like it, we can always turn around and go back. Okay, so you agree, and we go, and we start down the trail, and we start encountering spiders. And now you're like really edgy about it, and you're like, oh, I can't stand this, and your arms are kind of flailing out, and you're like trying to keep the spiders off of you, and you want to please me, and you know that I want to go for the walk and you don't want to disappoint me, but you're like, oh my God, I just can't stand this. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of like, helping you. I'm like, you know what? They're not going to hurt you. They're more afraid of you than you are of them. They're just little tiny spiders, and they're just, coexisting, and they're not really out to get you. So it's no big deal. And you're like, well, that might be true, but I don't like spiders on me. I can't deal with this. And I can't, I think we should go back. And so I spend a few minutes trying to talk you out of it, but I can see that you're so uncomfortable. So we go back. And then a few days later, I call you up and I say, hey, Carol, you ready to go for a walk? It's going to be a beautiful day, and we can meet at our usual time. Are you up for it? And you say, well, you know what? I don't think so. I don't think I can go for the walk. And I'm like, wow, come on. We've been walking for, this is what we do. We love to walk. And I'm trying to talk you into it. And I'm like, you know what? Well, how about if I try to help you overcome your fear of spiders, because I can really see the value of that, because it's so limiting, limiting your ability to enjoy your life because you won't go for a walk where there might be spiders. That doesn't seem like a good way to live. So let me help you with this. How about we'll go for the walk, and during the walk, how about if I bring you your favorite? I'm going to bring you some 75% dark chocolate with sea salt. It's your absolute favorite. And every 50 yards or so, we'll take a pause and we'll have a chocolate snack. And then when we're all done, we'll stop at the creamery and we'll get your absolute all-time favorite. We're going to stop and get you a rainbow cone. We'll both have a rainbow cone because we both love it. Would you be willing to do that with me? And you're like, oh, I don't know. Okay. And so we try it. You reluctantly agree because you can see it's really important to me, and you feel like you're failing me if you somehow just reject my efforts, and you don't want to fail me. You don't want to disappoint me. And it's really important to you that we stay friends. And so we give it a go, but the spiders are just absolutely crazy. And after about 10 minutes, you're freaking out, and you're like, you know what? I cannot do this. I'm out of here. You could go for your walk, but I'm not doing this anymore. And then you just turn and start running back to the car. And I'm like, okay, so here's what I'm going to put back to you guys that are listening now. How eager are you going to be to try that walk with me again? No matter how great I make the prize, the reward, no matter how careful I am to run interference and watch out for spiders by walking a little bit ahead of you, by, carrying a big stick or something and, and knocking the spider webs down before we go, no matter how much I try to protect you from the spiders and how much I reward you with your absolute most favorite things, do you think you're going to want to keep coming into the woods with me? Yeah, I don't think so. It just doesn't work that way. And so my suggestion is stop the leak, because what's happening in the trust and confidence between me and you, if you're Carol, what's happening to our relationship? What's happening to the trust and confidence that we feel like, I don't feel confident in myself anymore. I thought I could help you with the spider thing, but I couldn't. And now I feel like I failed you. You feel like you're like a big loser because you can't even go for a walk with me anymore because you're afraid of little insects. Our relationship is very strained, and we can't, like, we haven't gone for walks together in like 2-3 weeks now. And we don't, like, where's our relationship even going? Because like the whole thing is weird now. All right. So you see where this is going. You see how our trust and confidence has leaked out from that scenario. And so that's just one example of how trust and confidence can be leaked with our dogs. So if we have a dog that is, let's say your dog is reactive to other dogs or cars or kids or bikes or little animals, and your dog is a little bit over aroused or a little bit weirded out at first, and well, you can see where that story goes. Okay, so here's what to do about it instead. Stop the leaks, stop the trust and confidence leaks by getting to 3 yeses. And so you're going to run this, you're going to ask this question of any activity that you are going to do or thinking about doing with your dog. Okay, so the first question is this thing, this activity, going to build trust between us and individually? Is this thing going to build our trust? Yes or no? Number 2, is this thing going to build confidence, self-confidence and confidence in each other? Yes or no? And then number 3, is this thing going to be a baby step toward our mutually agreed upon desired outcome? Is this a baby step that is going to take us in that direction? And so we've got to get to 3 yeses. If we can't get to 3 yeses, then that is an activity that we are not going to do, because we must shut off that leaking faucet. Does that make sense? And so if your dog, let's say you have a dog that is dog reactive. So your dog, gets nervous or sort of barky, lungy when it sees other dogs. I'm just picking out one example, but this applies to everything. And you're thinking about taking your dog for a walk where there might be other dogs. Will that walk build trust? Will it build confidence? Is it a baby step toward the type of relationship and the type of partnership that you want with your dog? 3 yeses, go for it. If you get no's, 1 no or all no's, then what you've got to do is break down, chunk things down into small enough steps until you find yeses. And so it might be finding a different activity. So like me and Carol, maybe we're going to take a big pause from going for walks on the, hikes in the woodland trail until deep fall, when the spiders are all cocooned up and no longer active. And in the meantime, we're going to walk along the lake, or we're going to walk in the mall, or we're whatever, right? We're going to do something else. We're going to go to the movies. We're going to find other things that we love to do. And that's what I would want you to do with your dog. Find other things that you want to do with your dog, that your dog loves to do, and stop the leaks right now, today. Because the longer you keep that faucet open, the worse condition your relationship becomes, and the harder it becomes to get back into living a brilliant life with your dog. So I hope that's really helpful. I'm just going to recap those 3 questions again, and you can run this through anything like, does taking my dog to agility class or dog training class build trust? Does it build confidence? And is it a clear baby step in the right direction? All right, 3 yeses. If you don't get those 3 yeses, run another question. Find something else to do. Either chunk it down until you find the small enough piece that you and your dog can both be happy with and you can get your yeses, or just change it up completely and find something else to do until you have so much trust and so much confidence in yourselves and in each other that, well, you could pretty much take on anything. All right. So I hope that helps you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Have a great week and be brilliant. Thanks so much for listening. And hey, if you would like to work with me so that I can help you discover the missing pieces you need so that you and your dog can finally be happy and enjoy life together, then head on over to dancingheartsdogacademy.com and request your invitation to join us in the Brilliant Partners Academy when the doors open for the next enrollment. See you next time, and remember, a brilliant partnership with your dog makes your whole life brilliant.